I blame it on my glasses because things are actually magnified and it's about an inch further away than what it really seems. That's my excuse. All right, if you want me to explain what I'm doing, I'm attaching the clay. I'm actually putting pressure at a diagonal. I'm attaching it to that, and also I'm centering the clay at the same time. So this way it's not going to come off in your lap. It's going to stay on. Yeah, I have to. You name it, I've done it. I've done it all. Oh, it's great. I feel great at the end of the day. And I was talking to June earlier. One of my stories I always tell my students. I attended a workshop, Peter Volka's workshop in Houston, and he was working with 75 to 100 pounds of clay at one time. And after you watch somebody an entire weekend, you go, oh, I can do that. Because somebody make it look really easy. And so I came back to the studio, and June was there. I put on 75 pounds of clay, put on 125 more pounds. I had 100 pounds of clay, and I thought I was a macho guy. June was right there in front of me. I was showing off for this good-looking young lady. With 75 pounds of clay, a little bit falls off. It's a 5-pound piece. Okay, it hit the foot control, full tilt boogie. The clay explodes. Pins me against the wall, and June was sitting there, and I don't think it got on you. It just went, bam. So it was amazing.
Are you wanting us to be back?
No. Okay, the first thing you want to do is to center the clay. I'm also bringing the clay up, and I bring it back down. I promise I won't explain every time I do that. But basically, I'm bringing the clay up and down. It's kneading the clay like I was kneading the clay earlier on the pottery wheel. It's actually pushing the clay into itself and making the clay more harmonious, getting the lumps out, and centering as I'm working. And I usually do that 3 times. That's the magic number. When I'm going down, if I feel lumps on the outside edge, I'll do it a 4th time. But every once in a while, I get a cramp in my legs. I have to stop. There we go. And it's not pulling the clay up, it's actually squeezing the clay up. Well, it does, but it's more leverage. I'm putting my elbow into my body, pinching it with my leg, and I'm leaning in with my body weight. So if you want, it's very difficult to explain that to the students. So I've come up with a chart explaining pressure. So it's like it's leaning and also stiffening the hand at the same time. So I look at every time I do this, I look at it as exercise, but it doesn't have to be that much physical strength. If you can put your weight behind it steadily, it really helps. I had one years ago. I had this little Vietnamese girl that was she's like 75 pounds soaking wet. What's that? Yes, and she could actually center the clay because she used 75 pounds instead of just her physical strength. And I had a football player right next to her that couldn't do it because he was using his physical strength and pushing it off center. And so it was kind of interesting. So it doesn't take as much strength as you would think. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and open it up. Get you?
No, I'm going home to do flight blankets.
Oh, good for you.
I wore my jeans.
Yeah, Darlene and I, we survived middle school together. Yes. We taught.
I've been there. I was there for 12 years.
Mostly tired. Challenging. There's never a dull moment. It never is.
But they really need you.
Yeah, it's amazing the day's over with before you know it. And I'm like, what happened to the stave? So I want to get it down to a 3/4 inch base. That's what I'm checking right now. I want a 3/4 inch base so I can actually turn the pot upside down and trim it tomorrow. So I'm just pushing it down a little bit further. I had about an inch. I went 3/4. And June, you retired from high school?
I had 30 years with high school.
Well, I had 30 with middle school. I had 30. So.
You probably had it forever.
Not really. It wasn't bad. It wasn't bad at all. Darlene and I, we had the Summit program. It was a magnet program. The students could select our class from all over the district. We had some of the best students. They weren't artists, but they were intelligent, and they could be taught. It was wonderful. Loved it. And then Darlene's an incredible English teacher. I don't know if you know that or not. She's a great artist, but she's also an incredible English teacher. I'm just going to open her up. Now I want to go back inside, which you can't see. I want to flatten the bottom. And I want to flatten the bottom. That way, there's two reasons you want to flatten the bottom. One is to compress it so the bottom is strong and it doesn't crack. And the second is it makes a nice looking bottom so that in case you would want to use it for something that is aesthetically pleasing as well, instead of just something that you haven't thought of. All right, so I'm get the bottom cleaned up. And next I'm going to pull the clay up. With this thick of a piece of clay, this is about 1.5 inches thick. So what I'm going to do, I call it an inside pull. I'm going to press on the outside, press on the inside of my fingers, and pull up just to thin it out before I do a normal type pull. So that just gets the clay nice and even and begins the pulling process.
And you do it all the way from the bottom?
All the way from the bottom inside, lock my hands together, and I'm putting a little pressure on the outside and just pulling up. And that just thins it out. And I've just kind of developed that. I had some students that could only do that. They could only do that inside pull. And they end up doing okay. And I'm okay with it too. And I'm always pull the clay back into itself. Centrifugal force, it tends to want to go out. So you always have to keep it in. It's still about 1 inch thick. I'd like to have it a little bit thinner than that. I'm going to do one more inside pull, and then I'll go to the outside. That should do it. It sounds like I know what I'm talking about.
After 30 years, right?
How much clay is that?
This is right at 10 pounds. It could be a couple pounds over. At least 10. I recommend for beginning students 3. Is what I have my beginning students do. And then if they have trouble with that, they'll go down to 2. Or if they feel like it's too small for their hands, or their large hands, you go up to 3 or 4. And then after the semester, you can decide what you want to do. But everybody has to try it the first semester, and then second semester and third semester, it's all individual study. If you want to do sculpture the whole time, you want to do slab work the whole time, coil building, whatever you really get excited about, that's what it's all about. But the first semester is a taste of everything. So I'm busy, very busy the first semester with my students. All right, so what I'm doing now, I'm putting pressure against my fingers on the inside with the fingertip on the outside, and then slowly moving up. The trick here is to just a fingertip. It's like 1/4, a circle, 1/4 of an inch round, fingertip to fingertip. So you're not dragging your fingers on the clay. I used to put finger against the clay, and that's okay to begin with to start out, but you need to pull it off and just have that fingertip pressure. I always like to read how to do this before I give a demo. I've been doing that for 40 years. I read it, I'm like, wow, that's cool. So I get to learn something. I'm learning something every time I give a demo. Try to. It's amazing. When you really start learning about something, that's when you find out what you don't know. And also there's a whole world out there of ceramics that I know very little about. And I've only been doing this for over 40 years.
And when you teach it, you learn a lot more.
Oh my goodness, yes, especially from the beginners, because they don't know what not to do. And they, can I do this? And I'm beginning to learn not to say no. Yeah, go ahead and try it. Just keep me on board. I want to be on board. I want to learn. Because my goal in life is to learn something every year. And then when I'm 90, I'm going to be knocking them dead. I mean, they're going to be looking for me when I'm 90. Just keep it growing. And my students, I always tell them, don't worry about being better than everybody else. Be better than yourself. Learn something during the semester. That doesn't bother me. That doesn't. What? What'd you say? You can't hear. But that's what I want my classes. I want everybody working together. I don't want anybody to think, oh, don't steal my idea. Fine. Steal my ideas. Try it. See what happens. You'll end up doing it your own way. And that's what I want. I want it to be a cohesive group where the sum of the total is much greater than the number of students in the class. And I'm very fortunate that I get to work there all day. I mean, I'm there all day. Not to have a night class that I teach. I'm there from 8 to 3 every day, and then I have a night class I go up to twice a week. And I stay up there and work. And then one of my students, he's a genius. He's 82 years old, and he's incredible.
In your night class?
My night class, yeah. And he's there all day with me, you know, and he's there all day, and he ends at the night class. So he's great. He's retired, and one of these geniuses that kind of hang around and knows how to fix everything. I love those kind of people. Yeah, he's fixing the electric hill right now. Amazing. I love to have these students around. Oh yeah, we'll make one.
Now, do you have a wood kiln up there?
Pardon?
A wood kiln?
I would love to have one. No, I don't. I
Your
would.
next project's to build one, right?
I would love to do it. Magnese has a wonderful, a small train wood kiln, and it's just a very small little thing. It's about 6-7 feet long and a couple of feet wide, and it's just wonderful. You get great results with it.
Are you still doing raku?
I do raku a lot at Lamar, yes. And I've had a student that just got her Bachelor of Fine Arts, and that's all she did was raku. And we do raku firing twice a week. We do a high fire glaze firing once a week. Electric kills. The students ask me, when are you going to bisque fire? I said, well, give me some work. You know, whenever you get the work, I fire. So I don't like pieces sitting around. I want to get on with it.
I think what I've learned is I need to get transferred to Beaumont.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, we have fun.
Now, do you have continuing ed, or did your 80-year-old have to turn in a transcript?
Yeah, well, we have continuing ed.
Just saying.
And he is signing up for that because they just refused him. We went down to get a pass the other day, and he said, you're not a student, you can't get a pass. So I'm going to get him back in the class now in September with the continuing ed. The problem with that is that it's a very popular class, and that I have very few openings because most students, you know, it's like the art students get first choice. And very seldom do I have openings, but if it's somebody special, I'll make a space. I'll find a space to get them in. Okay, what I'm doing, I'm taking the throwing rings out. I either like really heavy throwing rings or none. I don't like it in between. And I'm in between right now. See, I've got a few little rings at the top and rings at the bottom. And throwing rings are good, except when you're going to put a design on your pot or something like that.
What did you say? What kind of ring?
Throwing rings. Throwing rings are these finger marks. See those rings? I want them really heavy and thick. They're really manly, you know, or I don't want them wimpy, you know. They're kind of wimpy. So I want a nice smooth surface, like a canvas. And by the way, I have worked on that clay board that you were talking about. I've actually made some slabs and I glued them on, and it works out great. That's
How
really
did you
nice.
glue them
What
on?
kind of adhesive did you use?
Epoxy.
Okay.
Now I kind of rough the surface up a little bit.
JB Well.
JB Well works fine. I love.
How did you rough up the Headboard surface.
with a not a drill, but a
Dremel?
Dremel. Yes, tough word. Dremel. Yes, I just kind of roughed it up a little bit, and then I just glued it on. And this was at the Bowman Art League, and they actually did this assignment, did this assignment, the project, and they made some money. And I went ahead and put a couple of screws into my piece. After it was sold, this guy bought it, and I had it on the floor over there, screwing. That's my piece. What are you gonna? No, it's my piece. So he was like, he's panicking because I was putting bolts into his piece that he had already bought. So, but anyway, that project, they made a lot of money on it, and everybody could be as creative as you want to be with it. You can paint, you can do whatever you want. So it's really nice material. It really is. Okay, what I'm going to do, let me go ahead and finish the top. Then that way I can play with the middle and the bottom just a little bit.
You said you sculpt afterwards.
Yes.
It's going to be in the dry form then?
No. I usually keep it wet.
Oh, you do?
I keep it wet, and
you can't keep it wet.
Oh, absolutely. You can keep it wet forever. And what I do...
Leather. Do you carve wet or leather?
Oh, I love to carve leather hard. Leather hard is the best. But when you're...
How do you keep it wet then after you've molded it and keep it the shape?
Well, it's just you got to pay attention to it. You know, it's like you get a plastic bag and put over it, and you let it dry slowly. And I'm going to cut this off, and then...
You drive it to Beaumont later. I mean, how's it going to stay in shape and wet in Beaumont?
Well, all the way there, it's amazing. In my opinion, if it's meant to be, it'll make it, and it always does. If it collapses, it collapses. I get to knead it up and make some more pots out of it. But they always make it. They always do. So it's kind of interesting. I'm not as attached to it, especially if you make more. You know, the more you make, the less attached you are. One is precious. 50 is not as precious. 200 is. I'll let that go. You know. So yeah. So,
it took me 3 years before I started throwing stuff out.
Yeah. I understand. Every once in a while I stop talking. The right brain takes over, and I start actually paying attention to what I'm doing. I appreciate that. We got artists here, so that's really nice. So I'm going to make some type of rim so that it has a finial on top, some type of something to stop your eye to look at the top. Okay, I'm going to take a little bit of clay away from the base. I'm just slicing it with the wooden knife. And that always does not come off very nicely. It's something I've just recently been doing. Come on, look. Let's see if I can get it off without making a mess here. Come on. So what I'm going to do with this pot, I'm going to make it round. I'm going to bowl it out in just a minute. I'm going to put designs on it first if I can actually clean this up. Come on. Everybody's watching. Cooperate, please. Yeah, I talked to a psychologist that took my class. I told her I talked to my pots. Is that okay? And she said, oh, yes, that's no big deal. They're not talking back, are they? No, they're not talking back. She said it was okay that you become more personally involved with what you're doing if you talk to your pot. So you can talk to your paintings, it's okay. Okay, I got that off.
Just don't tell anybody that they talk back to you.
Absolutely, just don't admit it. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, what I'm going to do, I'm put some porcelain. I've taken porcelain. I just made a slip out of it, just a slip. I just take a block of porcelain, soak it down, and mix it up. It's just a slip. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take some of this porcelain and put it on the pot. Yeah, it's really, this is like icing on a cake. This is some nice stuff. I can play with it all day. It's amazing. Because I'm going to do some finger painting on it.
What is this you just put on?
Porcelain. I've taken a block of porcelain and mixed. I just
Like porcelain slip.
absolutely. I just made it myself. Just taking a block of porcelain. That's all it is.
Is that its color?
Yeah, this is white.
And what was and that's going to stick to the base plate.
Absolutely. Not a problem. You can put porcelain right on top of clay, no big deal. And I've actually taken firm porcelain and attached it on and designed with it. It works beautifully. And I've done all kind of work with just porcelain, marbleizing it with porcelain. It's amazing. It's just clay, you know. So it's got this big name porcelain, but it's really
So
basically.
you use porcelain with this clay together and burn it?
Yes.
Really?
You name it, I've done it. I've done that. Yes, I didn't mean to, but I've done that. Yes. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put some designs on, and this is the fun part. The bad thing is you can't see what it looks like until you stop the wheel. But what I want to do, I want to put some designs, just some vertical lines, and then I'm going to put some curved lines going through it. So that's not bad.
Yeah.
Should I leave that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What were you going to do with the curved lines?
Well, I was going to put curved lines through so that these will be in the negative spaces. Go ahead.
Let's see it, yeah.
I can do this again. All right. Not enough.
Start over.
Start over. Right. You see where the light they come through those? That's what I want right there. Yeah, lattice work. Thank you. That's the word I'm looking for. Okay, what I'm going to do now, I'm going to stretch it out. And this is a little bit more difficult because I can't put my hand outside. I can't support it on the outside. So I'm just going to stretch this out and make this design more spontaneous by just pushing out on it.
So it's similar to like that Steve's tool.
Like what?
The Steve's tool that puts all those like gouges in the side of it. You do that, and then you just go from the inside and you push your putt out.
Absolutely. But I always just make the tools. I always do something. Yeah, absolutely. That works. You can put any design you want to on the outside, and then you push it out. It makes that design more spontaneous. It opens it up, and that's what. Hopefully, this is going to look better than what it looks now.
How thick is your clay about now?
This is anywhere from a ½ inch to a little bit less than a half. It's a little thicker than I normally throw because I'm giving a demo and I don't want to fail. You know. Most of the time when you give demos, they're a little bit thicker than normal. I would have pulled this a little bit taller, a little bit thinner. Maybe the next pot, if y'all can be patient enough, I'll do that. But there was a guy, Stephen Hill, did a workshop at the ceramic store in Houston, and the guy that was cleaning up after him went, "My gosh, that pot's so heavy." I'm going, "Yeah, it was a demo because he doesn't want to fail. He doesn't want it to collapse. It's a gorgeous pot, but it was heavy." And I said, "Well, that happens to me all the time." So that's why I'm explaining. I'm playing it safe is what I'm doing. It's kind of hard to.
Not like Randy, whatever his name was.
Broadneck.
Yeah, he was doing one at Sika, and the whole thing caved in.
Yeah, see it. But Randy don't care.
No, Randy didn't care.
He didn't care. That's part of his show. He's a showman.
Yeah.
That guy's crazy Randy. Great guy. I wish he was here. He'd come up and finish my pot for me. Stop that talking. Get some work done.
You used a lot of water in your first raising it.
Yes. Well, you have to, just because of the friction. That you can really press on it when you have water, and it's not going to hurt. It's not going to throw it off center. Use quite a bit, but you also can use too much. When you look in the pot, the splash pan, it shouldn't be full. When I put water on,
Can I just say something? I'm sorry. I'm so sorry,
it's
y'all.
okay.
I've lost my car keys. I don't know where they are. I sat right over there.
They're right here. Is that yours?
Because my husband's an invalid. I have to go home.
I understand.
Thank you.
All right.
Hang on. Now, drive careful. I'd like to know how they got out of my car.
Did y'all do it?
She was trying to get her phone to shut up. I think that's what happened.
I think so too. It fell out when she got her phone. But when you put water on the clay, what I'll do, I teach my students to touch touch. They can touch it as many times as they want to, but don't scoop and pour. It goes straight off. You'll end up with a full splash pan of water. So you can use too much, or you can use too little. If I get to the big demo where I'm going to do a large platter, I'll use very little because that water, the clay is really wet, soft, super soft. So what I'm doing now, I'm just expanding it out. So we'll take a look and see the design start to open up. And so where my fingerprints are, you can see where the clay is coming through. So when I glaze that, there'll be a variety of low contrast, of white against light gray, depending on what color I put on it. So that's not bad right there. Let me see if I stretch it just a little bit more. It's not bad.
It's amazing the length of time you did it to do it.
Oh, I can do it much better when I stop talking. But I'm used to explaining what I'm doing, so I don't mind talking. And what I'm going to do, the next pot, I'm going to collapse it on purpose. I'm going to actually let it push out so much that the top will go down. And that's what I want to do the next demo. If you can pay attention, you can hang in with me. All right, so you see what's happening with that? I like those vertical lines, diagonal lines within the curves. So that works out pretty nice. Thank you.
So it's going to be white?
Yeah, that'll be white, depending on what color I put on. If I put a transparent glaze on, there's several colors I can select from transparent glazes.
It's simple.
What's that?
I mean, it has a simple,
Yeah.
powerful look to it.
And that's what I like. I like the simplicity. I like the quietness in pots. I taught meditation for many years at the Buddhist temple years ago, and I do meditation every day. And it's like I want my pot to have that quietness and that what the Japanese call it the minge feeling, that spirit of the pot. Yes, sir.
What kind of list do you have and how far out you take?
Well, it depends on how thick. If I was really wanting to go out further, I would have left the center of the pot, the center here, thicker. I would have actually made a pull to the center halfway, another pull halfway, and the last pull all the way through. So the center of the clay would be thicker, and I could push it out further, and it wouldn't collapse. The next piece I want to collapse, so I want to keep that the same thickness or thinner. I want it to collapse down. I want to make a bowl with a double wall. I went to a Japanese show at the Museum of Fine Arts in Houston. Did you see it? The Japanese, you did not see it. Shame on you. That was an incredible show. It blew my mind. And then it's down now. But the piece I'm about to make is out of one of those potters. I looked at it going, how in the world did he do this? And then I figured it out. And so I'm going to copy one of his pieces. And it doesn't look like his work. It's not that good. But it's similar as far as technique. I vaguely heard you talk about copyright laws a while ago. I don't care. If somebody wants to copy me, great. Awesome. That'd be a compliment. You know, hey, try to sign my name, no problem.
Good luck, huh?
Yeah, I don't care. It doesn't bother me at all.
The problem is that Walmart's making money off of it.
Yeah, that's true. True. So what I'm going to do is lift and put it here.
It won't be the same.
What's that?
The Walmart piece.
No, see, that's the thing about it, that energy won't be there. And I really firmly believe that whatever energy you have when you do a piece of artwork, that energy goes right out the door with that painting. And that's why some of the great paintings have great people behind them. I really believe that. And I don't believe that if I like the painting, I'd like that person. I like their energy because they're good people. And that's what I really believe that. The energy that you have is in your work. That is, if you're really good and you know your craftsmanship, then it will be in your work. And that's when you stop trying to put it there. You don't try to put it there, it'll go. It goes naturally because after time, you have to make these pieces. In the beginning, you have to learn your craftsmanship. After that, you can learn how to really express yourself and find out what your voice is. And, is it watercolor? Is it acrylic? Is it pottery? What voice do you have? And a lot of people, I think you guys are pretty fortunate because you're finding out what your voice is. And a lot of people never find it. You know, it's really kind of sad. Some people never find out what is it that they're really good at. So,
you know, you're talking about working with children. We have 14 grandchildren. And one of my
14?
grandsons is 14. Oh, we have 9 great-grandchildren.
wow.
But one of my grandchildren is now 24, 25. He said, Grandma, he said, you're always talking to your aunt.
Yeah.
Why are you talking to your aunt? And I said, because every now and then you have to have an intelligence or something.
Yeah. And it really you become personally involved with it when you're talking. I think it's good. I don't talk as much. I like to be quiet. I like to be quiet in the studio. I don't let the students play music. They can plug in all day long. I don't care. As long as they unplug when I'm talking to them. But I like silence. And silence is my way of communicating to my God. It's through silence. That beautiful voice of silence. And I love it. I love to be quiet. I love to do meditation. And that's the thing about it. We all do meditation. When you're painting, it's a meditation. You're being quiet. You're focusing in on what you're doing. It becomes that meditation. Most people don't call it that, but no matter what you're doing, it becomes that beautiful experience. When the time goes, where did that time go? What happened to that last hour? What happened? And that's when you're experiencing, when you're hitting that zone. Pardon? Are there different formulas for the ceramic you're using? Absolutely. There's as many formulas as there are potters. And all my glazes, and I'm sorry I didn't bring some finished pieces. Darlene asked me if I brought some, and I didn't. I try to keep my ego out of this. I could have brought these pieces and how great I am and all that. But I've come up with my own formulas for the glazes as well. So everything we do in the classroom. What are you throwing? What is this? What is it? This. You want to give you the formula? No. That I don't have it. Generally speaking, what is it? Okay. Category. It's a high fire stoneware. It can go up to a cone 910. It also can be fired at Raku at cone 0506. So what does that mean then? What's in there? It means it's a wonderful clay. What it is? It's called a ceramic. What is it?
He made it.
I made it up.
It's his own formula.
It's my own formula. I don't have a name for it. But I can tell you the formula for it is 4 parts fire clay, which is Missouri fire clay, which allows it to go up to high temperature. Okay. I have 2 parts ball clay, 4 ball clay, which makes plasticity, and then I have 1 part talc and 1 part kaolite. That's the formula itself. And then I put in about So do you get the materials together and you make that? Yes. Okay. I help my students make it. They help me make mine. Okay. We all get together whenever somebody needs clay, and we mix it up as a group. My advanced students mix up their own. Beginning students, I'm always with the beginning students because they don't know. They don't know.